on a Wednesday. It's a game day for our local high school teams, our Boulevard home game of the week tonight. We'll have it live on the radio as well as on the fansportsnetwork.com. Snow Canyon at the Pit to take on the Pineview Panthers. Two great teams. Snow Canyon comes in at 7-4, but 1-0 in region. And of course, Owen Mackey missed significant time due to that high ankle sprain. Pineview, of course, enters this game at 9-3. They're also 1-0 in region play. As we welcome to the show our good buddy Ryan Ball, head coach of the Snow Canyon Warriors in his first year. Baller, good morning. How we doing, bud?
Good. How we doing, Devin?
Good. I mean, fair to say, if Owen Mackey is healthy, you guys are probably a little bit better than 7-4 overall entering this game. Your thoughts on that? Because Owen missed 3 games in that holiday tournament, as well as was there 4 games that Owen missed?
Yeah, no. So he missed 3. He missed our Cottonwood, Maple Mountain, and Riverton games, and all 3 of those teams are actually pretty good teams. And I think, in the moment we were kind of frustrated because we lost those 3. But when you look back, I think we actually played fairly well. I think it was good for our other guys to, get some run, get some opportunity, kind of improve their own play to kind of prep us for region. And, all 3 of those teams are really good. I mean, Riverton right now is 12-1, and they're beating pretty much everyone on their schedule. They're playing pretty well. Cottonwood's a solid team, and they just got their stud back. And Maple Mountain, early on was one of the top 5 or 6 teams in 5A, and they're still a pretty solid team. So we played good teams, which was good. Then Owen came back for the Riverton tournament up north and was kind of playing it, probably 70-75%. So he's still kind of, working his way back, and I think, getting slowly better and better. But, I like how we're trending right now. I think the most important thing, especially going into region, is how you're trending, and we're trending up from what I can see and from what I feel. And that's always a good place to be, especially when you get into a tough region like Region 9.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Expect the unexpected. Any given night, anything can happen, and we're going to be over there for the Boulevard home game of the week, and it does feature the leading scorer and the second leading scorer in region. Nash Schroeder, 24.3 points. Mackey comes in at 22 points per game, and they're going to be duking it out. Give me your thoughts on how you slow down Nash Schroeder. I had Coach Pat on earlier, and he said, hey, we just got to try to hold Owen Mackey under 30 to have a chance to win. I mean, do you feel the same about Schroeder? He's been stroking that shot pretty well. He was really efficient in that 32-point performance in their first region win when they got it against Desert Hills. And they haven't played for a long time. They haven't played a game this year yet.
Yeah, Nash is a freaking stud. I mean, that kid is a baller. He's really good at basically all 3 levels of scoring. I mean, he can really get to the rim. He's really good at dribble penetration, creating for others. He can shoot from the outside. He can pull up from mid-range. And that's kind of been the focus this week, is trying to game plan on how we're going to slow him down, just as I'm sure they're trying to game plan for Owen here. But, Pineview's got a pretty solid squad, really. And I think Coach Pat's done a really good job of coaching that team and getting them, ready for this season. And, Nash is the engine that makes it go. But, Griffin Shepard's another really solid player that plays solid on both ends of the floor, and he can score at multiple levels. And they've got a lot of shooters around that team as well. And so I think it's going to be a really fun matchup. And honestly, when I've watched film on Pineview, when I've watched some of their games that you guys have streamed too, it's really fun to watch Nash play. I mean, he's just a really heady player. He's really good at drawing fouls, getting to the rim, getting to the free throw line. And so he makes his offense look really efficient because he gets to those spots that are the efficient shots of being able to shoot the 3, get to the rim and the free throw line. And when he needs to, he can make those tough mid-range jumpers too. So he really is a tough guy to defend, and he's got that speed and athleticism to play that point guard spot. So I think it's going to be really fun to play against him.
And, Coach, we talk all the time about Owen Mackey and what he's able to do, but what about some of the other guys who are able to kind of support and give some kind of added elements to your guys' team as well?
Yeah, I think our role players have really started to step up and play a lot better as the season has gone on. Owen Iloa has been pretty good for us. He and Carter Campbell switch off starting some games kind of based on the matchups. Carter's played pretty well in terms of guarding some bigger guys, and Owen does a pretty good job of kind of giving us a little bit of a scoring punch. And then our shooters they've been kind of hot and cold this season, but when they're hot, they're hot. And, Dre Smith and Damon Entz have had some really good shooting games, and I think their defense has really improved. Trey Kelch, he had a pretty cool, I don't know how much you guys saw of that sequence he had in that early fourth quarter against Crimson, where he had a couple steals in a row that just really energized the entire gym and our entire team. And he kind of brings that. So when he sprinkles in a little bit of, his own Trey Kell taste there, it kind of really helps us get a lot of energy. And I think our guys really have been starting to buy into what we're trying to do offensively, moving the ball a lot better. And that's what's really been, I think, impressive for me is our practices the last 2 weeks have just blown me away compared to earlier in the season. And that's always great to see as a coach to see improvement throughout the year.
And Coach, going back to that big win against Crimson, as you guys set that play up at the end, one of the things that we talk about here in the studio and that we love to see is it looks like Owen Mackey originally gets the inbound play, but he passes it away to a teammate to set it up for the open shot. Was that something that you guys drew up, or is that just the guys going out there and playing fundamental basketball with each other and just kind of understanding the moment?
Yeah, that play was a specific drawn-up play late game. We have a couple of out-of-bounds plays that basically look the same but finish different, and that was one that basically I figured that they're going to think that Owen's going to get the ball inside because in that second half especially, in the first half we were hitting Owen inside, he kept hitting our outside shooters, but the second half was really pound the ball inside, get Owen the ball inside, and he did a phenomenal job. I mean, he ended with 35 points. But I figured that that's what they were going to think, right? That we're only down 2. We've got 7 seconds left. I think a lot of people would think, let's go for the tie and keep pounding the ball inside. That's something I figured that Crimson would kind of be expecting, kind of that flex screen from Owen Iloa because that's what one of our out-of-bounds plays looks like. And so I drew up that flare for Owen to get that flare from Owen Iloa, and Owen Iloa set a really great screen. And Owen was just so wide open on that shot. It was fantastic execution by the boys. They did exactly what we drew up, and it was such a fun shot because I was standing right behind him, first region game of my career, and he hits that game winner. It was electric in there.
Yeah, the jungle was rocking. Crank up the Guns N' Roses. You got to go on the road, though, tonight. But I wanted to ask you, was it hard to sit around through the holidays because you guys had the bye and didn't play a region game? And you got the ankle sprain. I mean, what was the holidays like at the Ball household? Was there some nerves finally getting that first region game under your belt and then getting the win? I bet you slept like a baby last Friday night, Coach.
Yeah, well, it was definitely a little bit of a break, but it was nice to have 4 games of that Riverton tournament right after Christmas to kind of keep us in the flow of things. And then we had, about a week until that region game. But it was nice, too, because then we got that full kind of not 4 days because we had that Monday of New Year's Day, but we had Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to prep for that first game. And it's actually funny, when I was texting with Owen after the game, you mentioned sleep because I'm the kind of guy that, after a tough loss or after a game, I have a hard time sleeping because I think about, what could I have called here? What could I have called there? So I was texting with Owen, and I was like, hey, that was a phenomenal shot, very fun game. And he said, yeah, I just made that because I knew that if I didn't, that you wouldn't be able to sleep that night. And I just thought that was funny because he's joking about it, but he's probably right because I probably would have sat there like, dang, how could we have let this game slip through our hands? But he made that shot to help me sleep through the night. So that was actually really fun, kind of a funny exchange between us. But it was just funny, too, because that game was, I think, so close almost all game long. I mean, Crimson jumped out to a little bit of an early lead. Then we battled back and took the lead in the second quarter going into halftime. And that third quarter was, again, back and forth. And then in the fourth quarter, we took two times. We took 8 or 9 point leads and kind of felt like we had the game in our hands. And then we just made small mistakes that allowed Crimson to get back in the game and eventually take that lead. And so then it was, let's keep our composure late in the game. Let's get the ball across half court, get it to where we can get a baseline out of bounds play. And then the rest is history. We executed and got it done.
Yeah, fun win. Buzzer beater, Mackey, 35 points plus the game winner. Take some momentum into the pit tonight. You mentioned this is Pineview's playing well. Pineview's all the way up to number 5 in the latest RPI. You guys sit at number 9, so this is a top 10 matchup. There's 26 teams now in 4A, which everybody probably knows. This is everybody early in the region schedule jockeying for position. I know this is not the postseason. I know this is not late in the season, but how do you stress the importance of a road game tonight to keep the momentum you got last Friday going?
Well, real quick before I get to that, too, another thing I want to shout out for Owen, too, is 8 assists in that game. He had 35 points and 8 assists, and that's the thing about him is he is always going to make the right play. And most of those came in the first half where Crimson doubled down on Owen pretty much every time he got on the post, and he always made the right play, kicking out to our shooters, who also did a good job in getting in his vision. So I just wanted to kind of shout that out, too, because, he can put up all the points he wants, but Owen, I think an underrated aspect of him is his passing and playmaking. As far as the importance of this region game, especially a road game, when we've kind of looked at it as a coaching staff, we went into region, I think 12th in the RPI. Crimson was 13th, so it was a kind of a close matchup there in terms of RPI. But when you start looking up ahead of us, it was kind of like, we can't have a lot of slip-ups in region play because there's teams above us, that are, and I think weaker regions. I think the kind of the Salt Lake region for 4A isn't quite as strong. They have a couple solid teams there, and then it's, I think, little bit weaker at the bottom. So there's not a lot of potential losses for some of the teams above us. And so each game in region is incredibly important. I think this is a huge early season game against Pineview. Like you said, with them being ranked 5th and us 9th, it's a great opportunity to get a top 5 RPI win, move up even further. And I think the goal for all teams should really be to kind of get in that, top 8, because you get that first round bye and then you get a home game in the second round. And I think that's kind of the ideal situation. I mean, it'd be nice to, obviously be in that top 4 and, get even more home court advantage throughout, but really important to try and get to that quarterfinals by getting that first round bye and then getting that home game. And so being top 8 is really important. And we're sitting right on the outside at 9. And yes, it's early, but there's a lot of opportunities for good wins in Region 9.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Panthers 9-3. They're ahead of you. A win tonight on the road obviously will improve your RPI. It's simple. The formula: play good teams, beat good teams, which you get a lot of in Region 9 basketball. You get the Flyers twice still coming up, obviously. Desert Hills is sitting there. I think they're 11th in the RPI right now. So lots of opportunities.
Our region's loaded, man.
Yeah.
It's loaded.
Yeah, there's no night off. You can't even sleep on Cedar or Hurricane this year either, because you have an off night and they have an on night, and anything can happen.
Yeah,
yep.
Absolutely. And I think those two teams are, everyone expects them to kind of be those bottom two, but like you said, I mean, I think there's any night that they can go out and beat someone, because I've seen them play, and I think each of them have really good things. I mean, Cedar can get hot. They've got a couple of really good players. Hurricane's young right now, and I think that's something that, on any given night, a young team can really step up and play really well. And Hurricane's a team that I think over the next couple of years can really be, a problem. And so there's really, it seems like, hardly any breaks when you're playing in Region 9. And I think that's a really good thing, because it can prep you for the state tournament. It can prep you for other really hard, difficult teams to play against. And so it's really fun, and especially jumping out to, playing Pineview, Dixie, and Crimson, so the first 3 of our 4 region games is going to be a really good challenge for us.
Coach, just a couple more questions. One, not regarding the game tonight. I want to get back to that in just a second, but I don't know if you got a chance. I'm sure you probably did last night after practice or whatever. You watched a little of the Dixie Wasatch Academy game. Give me your thoughts on that matchup and how good of a performance that was for Region 9 and the Flyers. I know they go up there in their home court and they lose by 3, but it had some chances to win down the stretch.
Devin, Dixie is just an absolute machine, and everyone knows how good they are. Everyone understands, they're well coached, and they've got this group that has a ton of continuity, and they play really well together. Everyone knows their role. They know exactly who they are. I think it's kind of a game to really, as a team that's not Dixie, to kind of reflect on, hey, at full strength and us at our best, how would we match up against the 8th-ranked team in the country, Wasatch Academy? It's kind of a barometer indirectly there of like, hey, Dixie played these guys. They had a lead in the 4th quarter at one point, and they played one of the top teams in the country, and they just about beat them and lost by 3. And so I think, Dixie's a team that I can just see every team they play against, they're going to rise to the occasion. They're going to play to that level, and they're going to really compete. And that's what I think is kind of the level that all of us have to try and get to is, can we compete at that level just from playing hard, just from executing our stuff? Because I think that's where Dixie has separated themselves from a lot of other teams in the state. I think, there's some teams in this region that can match up with them and give them a really good game. And I think we're one of those teams. But really it's, can we actually execute our stuff like Dixie? Dixie, no matter who plays them, no matter what kind of defense, no matter what kind of competition, they're going to be who they are. And that's exactly what a good team does. They execute their stuff. They play their roles exactly how they should. And so that's a really impressive game by Dixie. And all 3 of their losses right now are to teams that are really good. Orem's a good team, and then the team they played in California is another really good team. So they played a hard schedule. They've prepped themselves for the games coming up, and I think they've done themselves a solid by continuing to play their brand of basketball and play that well.
Ryan Ball with us here. Before I let you go, Baller, give me some keys tonight. What are you stressing with the guys to go to the pit and try to get a win?
Yeah, I think one of them is trying to slow down Nash. I mean, he's been on an absolute tear, multiple 30-point games. That's a big one. I think getting out to their shooters is another good one, kind of running them off the line. But I think more importantly, and this is what we have been stressing, and this is since that Walker Classic group of games we had, we need to start executing our stuff better. Teams in region are going to know what we're doing. They're going to have tons of film on us. They're going to try and take things away. We've got to be able to execute our stuff when teams know what we're going to try and run. And I think that's, like I said, it's something that Dixie's been doing. I think we're trying to really get that. And I think, like I said, the last couple weeks of practice have really been very pleasant to me. They've made me very excited for upcoming games. I think the big point of emphasis tonight is execute, guys. If we execute all of our stuff, I think we've got the tools and the ability to win this game and win games moving forward as well.
7 o'clock tonight, Warriors at the Panthers. We'll have it for you, our Boulevard home game of the week right here on the Fan Sports Network on radio. We'll be streaming it on the Fan Sports Network website as well as our YouTube page. Lots of ways that you can watch or listen to this game tonight. Coach, hopefully we get a chance to talk to you in pre or post game. Have a great time tonight, and we'll see you over at the Pit about 7 o'clock.
See you there, Dev. Have a good one.
Ryan Ball, Snow Canyon Warriors head coach, had Pat Amico earlier, and Bronson Barron announcing live on the show he's going and taking his talents to SU. You will get all of those interviews up on our YouTube page. We'll get it all out on our socials if you missed those earlier interviews, so you can catch up with all the latest and greatest from today's show. We've been busy today, CC. Loaded show. You're working hard today over there with all the video.
We've already got to the first 2 interviews posted. They're on the Instagram, on the Facebook, on the YouTube there, so we'll keep things rolling, and we'll have this one here with Coach Ball up in the next 10 minutes or so.
It's really, I got to give credit to some of the administration in the hiring process. I mean, you're taking a chance on Ryan Ball. He didn't have any head coaching experience. He's young. And, you go back to where we started that conversation. I mean, they're 7-4, and it helps to have an Owen Mackey, but they didn't have Owen Mackey for 3 games. If they get 2 of those with Mackey healthy instead of the high ankle sprain, they're 9-2. Just 2 of those, and they were close games. So they could be 10-1 going into this game tonight, and probably, right there with a top 4 RPI ranking. So obviously injury is part of the game. Can't do anything about it. I expect a good one tonight. Sounds like Owen in the ankle, maybe was only 75%, Coach said, after Christmas in that holiday tournament. Probably close to getting back to full strength by this point in time. So we expect a good one tonight. You got the leading scorer in the region, Nash Schroeder, and the second leading scorer, Owen Mackey, going head-to-head. And we'll have it for you live here on the Fan Sports Network tonight from the Pit. The other 2 games tonight, we'll be getting you Nets on Fire Region 9 score updates all night long on those other 2 games as well. It's a busy night. Everybody's playing except for the Dixie Flyers. Dixie played last night, lost to Wasatch Academy 62-59. Got Coach Ball's take on that. But Hurricane is at Desert Hills, and Crimson goes up to Cedar City. Always a tough place to play. Got to go up to Cedar City looking to try to get a region win for another first-year head coach. We got 4 first-year head coaches, CC, Hurricane, Crimson, Pineview, Snow Canyon this year. So a lot of guys doing a great job around the region, getting the guys ready on Wednesdays and Friday nights, and we're covering it tonight. We'll be eyes on everything for you. And then another doubleheader coming on Friday night as well. It's just the 1 game tonight, but on Friday night we'll be bringing you 2 more stream games here on the Fan Sports Network. And those games are, Dixie and Pineview, okay, yeah, I'm in. That'll be our game of the week, but we'll also be streaming Desert Hills at Crimson. 2 great games on Friday as well. They just keep coming in waves at this point in the new year. All right, we got to take a final break.